Dreamies, I've collected all 58 exclusive Dreamy Crown Coords featured in the mobile game Aikatsu Photo on Stage, and I put them all together for you. Enjoy! 58 Sweet Bath Guide. Sweet Bath Guide isn't bad at all, it's actually super cute, but when it comes to Aikatsu, I'm looking for interesting silhouettes at the very least. The fitted blazer and loose A-line skirt just aren't doing enough for me. 57 Sweet Skip. We've talked about my disinterest in brown accent colors enough, but I feel especially confused about the dark tone they picked in Sweet Skip. Look at those shoes! Where else is the brown used? Nowhere? At least commit to it! I'm also not a big fan of the mix of stripes and oversized lace pattern in the top and skirt. There are too many conflicting directional lines here. 56 Stray Rabbit Witch. I really struggled to play Stray Rabbit Witch. I wanted to like it, but every time I raised its ranking, something felt wrong. I think the main issue has to be the number of layers in this design. I love fluffy trim, but doesn't the double layer of fluff at the neckline look uncomfortably thick? Especially paired with the cape collar flared out underneath it. The red plaid accents also feel just a touch too busy. There's too much going on for me to look at it comfortably. 55 Monster Rabbit. Listen, I love rabbits so much, but what happened to Monster Rabbit? Putting a giant face on the skirt already feels silly, but did they need to make it look like the rabbit face has a comically oversized yellow mustache? It says a lot that I don't even notice the fedora. 54 Smile Cheshire. Smile Cheshire has a cute silhouette. I love the leg warmers and extra cat accessories, but its textures are all over the place. You have several variations of big, bold stripes, and then this dense floral bubble print in the skirt. I'm honestly surprised I was able to overlook that enough not to put it at the very bottom of the list. 53 Sky Squeeze Dot Madoka. Don't worry, I gave Akari's version of Sky Squeeze Dot more credit, but Madoka's is testing me with all these dark blue lines competing for attention. Where is the focal point? I appreciate the unique color palette here, it does work, but your eye gets to the bias and then all hope is lost. There's way too much detail and contrast there. 52 Rose Top Aurora. I know a lot of you love a ball gown, but I don't think Rose Top Aurora makes either of us happy. And you know why? It's because this dress is a fisheye lens. Look at the rose at the neckline. Compare its size to the roses on the skirt. Because those elements look similar, your eye interprets the skirt as being closer to the camera than the bodice. Because the shoes use an even smaller rose detail, your eye interprets the legs as being angled backward slightly. The end result is an optical illusion where the skirt bulges outward toward camera, setting the whole design off balance. 51 Fluffy Pink Heart. I don't mind Fluffy Pink Heart. It's a swimsuit, so there's less to comment on, but they played this design pretty safe overall. Very little pattern variation, a couple of accent colors, and a fairly standard cut for both pieces. It's fine. 50 Happy Sky Step Akari. Akari's version of Happy Sky Step is also fine. I just have a problem with the asymmetrical skirt layers. I know I'm usually happy to see asymmetry in these designs, but there's nothing balancing it. There's no reciprocal asymmetry, like having one sock be longer on the side where the skirt pannier is shorter. Something small like that would have helped a lot. 49 Happy Sky Step Madoka. Madoka's version of Happy Sky Step is at least balanced. I still don't really like how isolated the cloud print is in the skirt or the isolated stripe texture of the ribbon, but on a visual flow level alone, this isn't the worst design. 48 Eternity Odyssey. I can't tell if anyone will agree with me here, but isn't Eternity Odyssey messier than it needs to be? It's such a pretty color, but the lines created by the skirt layers are out of control. The top layer has a pointed shape, which is a great directional element, but the blue layer underneath is pointed in a completely different direction, as are the white layers. It ruins the visual flow, as do the large rose charms at the waist and the gold jewelry on the socks. There's too much going on. 47 Dreamy Red MC. Dreamy Red MC annoys me because it refuses to have visual rhythm. The main problem is its pairing of a soft curve like the blue line with the straight geometric stripes and the pink fabric next to it. And then there's the cut of the skirt creating a soft 90-degree angle that prevents either of those elements from having any rhythm. It's a total distraction from every other part of this design. 46 Ribbon Couture. I'm not sure how harsh to be on Ribbon Couture. It has a more unique color palette with the bright yellow added in, and the lower waist of the skirt isn't a bad thing. I might just be tired of stripes. You don't need both stripes and polka dots, especially in such graphic prints. You can do something more ornate, more interesting. There are plenty of regal motifs that could have been expanded on in this design, rather than the most basic line and dot concepts possible. 45 Dreamy Stargirl. Dreamy Stargirl really impressed me at first, but it kept dropping in my ranking. I think it's because of how messy the skirt is. I believe in editing designs down to make them easier on the eyes, and between the triple ruffle layer at the waist and the not one, not two, but three identical chains connecting the skirt pieces, there were definitely ways to streamline this design without affecting its overall impact. 44. Dreamy Peony White. How do you feel about the dark stockings in Dreamy Peony White? I think they look out of place and they take a lot of focus away from the lighter tones in the dress. I like the overall concept and the cut of these pieces is fine, but there are versions of it I like a lot more further up in the ranking. 43. Full Bloom Thumbelina. Full Bloom Thumbelina is only this high up because I have some respect for its complexity compared to what we've seen so far. Are those wings made out of draped fabric and flower bouquets? If so, I really don't like them. They create a pair of harsh 90-degree angles that square the overall silhouette and make it feel a lot more rigid. I'm also not a fan of the bright spring green paired with brown accent ribbons in this color palette. They add way too much contrast that distracts from the rest of the dress. 42. Dream Skip. Dream Skip is the matching dress to Sweet Skip, and here at least the brown shoes are a closer match for this color palette. The warmer pinks and blues fit this shade of brown a lot better, so although I still would rather see brown either used more as an accent color or removed entirely, this isn't the worst palette. The cloud gloves and tiny crown are also cute. 41. Heart and Heart. Heart and Heart is fine. I won't pretend to be an expert on yukata design, but I'll just say that the color palette is the biggest strength here. I don't love this mix of graphic and organic patterns, but it is a pretty good way to blend in the western influences of Dreamy Crown. 40. Sky Squeeze Dot Akari. See, Akari's version of Sky Squeeze Dot gets a little more respect from me. The blue lines are a lot less distracting here, and I'll give the unique color palette some credit too. I am still pretty tired of polka dots and stripes, but we have seen much worse than this so far. 39. Royal Lime Bride. Royal Lime Bride makes a good resting point for my eyes. I don't generally care for wedding dresses, but it's cool to see what Dreamy Crown can do with a heavily reduced palette. The gathered fabric at the front is a little odd to me, but the red ribbon is well placed. It's nice. Moving on. 38. Purple Silky. I only have one complaint for Purple Silky. Boost the saturation a little, please. I could nitpick more of this design, but it's honestly fine. Cute even. I'd just like to see the darker purple midtone match the saturation of the other shades more closely. 37. Peach Silky. See, I think the darker midtone is working a lot better for Peach Silky. Still less saturated, but closer to the other pink shades. Now I'm noticing that I think I'd prefer some kind of sleeve detail on this top, but it's still a cute enough dress. 36. Dreamy Peony Yellow. Dreamy Peony Yellow surprised me. Usually I'm not a big yellow, orange, or green fan, but it's working great here. The white and gold base colors help elevate the palette from energetic to elegant, and all the details are really cute. Nice work. 35. My Dear Teddy. My Dear Teddy surprised me in a bad way. I enjoyed the teddy bear concept in the card art, but the high-low dress and dark lace accents fall super flat for me. The underside of the skirt is just such a bright yellow, and the dark lace is so dark that they dominate all the other details. The bias and hat are adorable. I wish they'd minimize the skirt detail a lot more. 34. Ribbon Valentine. See, it's sad that I like Ribbon Valentine more. It's only up this high because it's technically good. There are too many stripes for my taste, but there's nothing actually wrong with the visual flow or cut of these pieces. Could they be more unified in terms of color and pattern usage? Yeah, but it's still a pretty safe and cohesive design. 33. Next Odette Swan. I'm a little scared to put Next Odette Swan down here, but it's not good, you guys. It's over-designed. Let's do a test. Close your eyes. Now open them. Where did you look first? The center of the dress, right? With the dark blue accents? Those dark blue sections are the focal points, and they have nothing to do with the fancy wings or the long feather skirt train. As nice as those parts of the design are on their own, they're not contributing anything to the visual impact. It doesn't matter if you make these big shapes if your eye glides right over them in favor of vague dark spots arranged vertically down the center of your design. 32. Royal Violin. I do have to apologize to Royal Violin because I'm still beefing with that red ribbon placed right at the neckline. I don't like it. They fixed the ones on the skirt and shoes by making them blend in more, but here I thought that the point of this dress concept was the brown violin panel on the bodice. So why is there a higher contrast ribbon pasted right above it? Focal points. Focal points matter. 31. Starry Holy Night. I talked about Starry Holy Night a little bit in my Christmas cord ranking, but now we can appreciate this design on its own merits. I do like this color palette, the gold works well, and jewel tones are a great fit for Dreamy Crown's motifs. It is a little bulkier than I typically prefer dresses to be, and I would have liked chunkier shoes or boots to help carry that visual weight, but overall this design is pretty elegant. 30. Yellow Silky. Yellow is continuing to surprise me with Yellow Silky. Isn't it so much better to see this design in more saturated colors? Sure, maybe I still would have liked sleeves on the bodice, but I'm happy with how bright and cheerful this design looks. They integrated the gold accents really well too. 29. Royal Dream. Royal Dream is cute, but a little half-baked in terms of its accents. The dark red trim, pink plaid in the skirt, and gradient ribbon are all fine additions, but I think they used too little of all of them. I'd like to see one of them removed to give the other two more room to shine. If I had to pick, I'd take out the gradient ribbon. Make that ribbon match the pink plaid or the red trim and you've got a much more iconic design. 28. Purple Velvet. Isn't purple velvet interesting? There's so much contrast with the dark blue accents, and I do respect the decision to make the bow at the waist lighter. That way they avoid dividing up the visual flow too much and distracting from all the different textures going on in this dress. And boy are there a lot of textures. It's right on the line of looking messy, but I think they edited it down effectively enough. 27. Peach Velvet. For Peach Velvet, I think it was an even better decision to have the ribbon at the waist blend into the base color of the dress. Then you're getting even fewer distractions and the focal points are even clearer. I'm not sure if I like the splash of red they added in the skirt, but at least it's trying to balance against the asymmetrical placement of the bow. 26. Fluffy Blue Sky. Fluffy Blue Sky is another swimsuit. This one is so much higher up because I think they achieved a better variety in texture and pattern here. The cloud print is the base, but they added a subtle heart print as a second layer and then tiny ruffles to give the skirt more visual interest. Very streamlined and pretty. 25. Cure Magical. Sometimes you have to stop and appreciate good editing, like in Cure Magical. I'm not a huge fan of the cut of the skirt or the combination of this deep blue with a red and white gradient, but there's nothing really wrong here. I can easily see where they could have gone overboard with detail in this design, but they left broad open areas of a subtle blue polka dot print and added a few iconic details like the heart applique on the skirt. Not bad. 24. Dreamy Peony Pink. Dreamy Peony Pink is super cute. I always enjoy white and gold base colors, and the pinks and purples they chose here work really well with them. I like the heart cutout on the side of the dress, and all the details are adorable to me. 23. Growth Time. I know they aren't really part of the clothing design, but Akari's bare ear hairstyle is pretty irresistible. Growth Time makes great use of it, and I can appreciate this more glamorous approach to loungewear. The sheer cardigan is a great textural element, and the asymmetrical leg jewelry adds some extra visual interest. It's a little messy overall, but too cute to put any lower. 22. Dreamy Pearl Bride. Dreamy Pearl Bride is a lot more elegant. The red accent colors have been used just sparingly enough to add some interest, and I like that they tie into the gloves and shoes as well. Most of the emphasis here is on cut and visual rhythm, both of which are super strong. If anything, they could have used the pearls a little more in the veil and shoes to really drive home the concept. 21. Basket Country. We don't get a lot of rustic design aikatsu, so the novelty of basket country makes up most of its appeal for me. The reference to overalls is really cute in the denim section of this dress, which of course pairs perfectly with a gingham print blouse. The primary color scheme is bright and refreshing, and I can't even be that upset about the brown boots. They went to the trouble of adding matching brown stripes in the sleeve cuffs, so at least they seem more intentional. 20. Cheerful Heart. Cheerful Heart is a weird one because although I love the nautical motifs and high contrast pink, navy, and white color palette, the cut of these pieces feels a little too mature for this context. The skirt is both low-waisted and very short, and the top is both cropped and pretty tight-fitting. I love the design, they even added gold accents, but I prefer more youthful designs for aikatsu. 19. Pink Dream Choco. Finally, proper use of brown in a color palette. Listen, brown is a great neutral color, but you have to use it intentionally since it has a hue and can affect your color balance more than black or white. For Pink Dream Choco, that quality has been effectively used to boost the vibrancy of the pink accent color. All of the ruffles in this dress have been used well too. They look so much like dripping chocolate. 18. Charmy Cheerleader. See what I mean about mature versus youthful design? Charmy Cheerleader has the same concept and a similar cut to Cheerful Heart, but adds playful details and more volume to its pieces. My praise for the color scheme and nautical details remains here, and I do love cheerleading as a design theme. I think the preppy aspect of Dreamy Crown is a great match for it. 17. Dreamy Key Cheer. Honestly, I wasn't sure if I should rank Dreamy Key Cheer lower or not, but it ended up here because of its complexity. There are so many details and they all fit together well. My favorite is these slouchy boots. They make such a unique shape. The visor is another unique accessory, and I adore this color palette. This is such an intricate yet fun approach to the theme. 16. Girly Lace Bride. It's really hard to get me to like a bridal concept more than a cheerleading concept, so congratulations to Girly Lace Bride. I think the risk they took in adding a diagonal sash to the skirt paid off. It's a bold but effective way to add more visual interest to the design. The giant matching ribbon at the waist builds on that visual rhythm and makes it even more iconic. The sleeves mirror the ruffles and trim in the skirt too. 15. Orange Princess. I don't know how Orange Princess got up here, but here we are. The fact is that orange and blue are complementary colors, and they picked the perfect shades of each to maximize the vibrancy of this color palette. I've criticized several tiered designs like this before, but this time the proportions are perfect. Even the ruffles are large enough to avoid looking overly detailed. 14. Lula D White. Lula D White is almost too cute. There is a random pointed panel in the front of the skirt, but it has a relatively minor impact thanks to the corset and pannier having more contrast. I adore these colors and the subtle plaid print. The asymmetrical arrangement of the roses is perfect too. I love that the sleeves look like bouquets. Adorable. 13. Dreamy Key March. Dreamy Key March almost dropped lower in the rankings, but I have to appreciate its complexity. There are so many textures here, with these stripes and fringe trim dominating the visual hierarchy. The dark blue accents are a close second. They've been minimized to avoid taking focus away from the other elements. There is some awkwardness here. The giant fluffy piece on the waist looks way bigger than necessary to me, but overall I like this design. 12. Dreamy Pearl Yukata. This is totally me being bribed by Akari's hairstyle again, but the hair ribbons are part of the costume design. I like these shades of pink and purple, and the cropped cut of this yukata is very novel. I can appreciate the sparkly pink texture too. I think it works well with how matte the rest of the fabric is. 11. Dreamy Cosmos. I only regret not putting Dreamy Cosmos in my top 10 a little bit. It's gorgeous, don't get me wrong, but the shape of those wings could be adjusted further. They're just a tad too square. I would have also liked less visual noise in the skirt. All those ruffles have been given lovingly detailed shading that becomes a little too dense with detail for my taste. 10. Petite Teddy. So cute. I love stuffed animals so much, so a teddy bear concept is everything I could ask for in an Aikatsu design. I think they pulled it off perfectly. I love the warm yellow and pink color palette, the hints of intricate detail, the fluffy trim and pom-poms, and the teddy bear headband. Perfection. 9. Dreamy Stripe. I don't know how Dreamy Stripe managed to get even higher than Petite Teddy. Do I love navy and white that much? How do I not care about the random pink and purple section of the skirt? All I know is that I love the subtle sparkle texture in the bodice and the careful use of directional lines in this design. It's a miracle. 8. Rose Crown Princess. Rose Crown Princess got complexity points for me. I couldn't put it lower than Dreamy Stripe with a clear conscience. It has so much going on, but somehow the visual hierarchy stays pretty clear. The dark pink and white are the main focus. The gold wings are fairly minimal, so they subtly frame the face. And the sheer gradient fabric adds volume while cutting down on visual noise in the skirt. I don't necessarily love this design, but I respect it. 7. Check wrapping. Check wrapping really surprised me. I ended up falling in love with this color palette throughout this ranking, and this is the perfect version of it. The highly detailed top and bottom pieces have been given the right balance between each color, and the ribbon concept comes through thanks to the red being reserved for the ribbon sections. Each detail is really thoughtfully executed here. 6. Striped Cheshire. Striped Cheshire is another huge surprise for me. I couldn't believe that it kept rising up the list. The main tufted section of this dress is just too perfect. I've seen it a few times in other rankings I've done, but this material always feels so unique and interesting to me. And combining it with fur trim is perfect for me specifically. The rest of the design can almost do whatever it wants, but I will note how cute the overall silhouette is too. 5. Fluffy Quilted. Fluffy Quilted tried to tempt me with even more fur trim, but somehow it didn't even get into my top 3. Again, I love this color palette, and I find the quilted sections to be a very interesting texture. The beret is also a great fit. But something tells me that this design could have been simplified just a little bit. The stripes on the pink skirt trim are a good example of an unnecessary detail. 4. Yellow velvet. Whoa, crazy, there are still more surprises. I've said this a lot, but I don't know how yellow velvet got here. I love the green and yellow so much. They aren't even close to being my favorite colors, but they look amazing in this design. Remember back when I said that it was a good idea to make the ribbon at the waist a lighter color? I take that back now. I think with so many little color variations in this dress, you need the dark green ribbon to dominate them and keep the focus on more unified elements. Otherwise, I definitely would have called out that random blue patch in the skirt. 3. Stray Cat Witch. Stray Cat Witch is peak design, you guys. Let's count our blessings here. Wonderful pink and purple color palette, fluffy trim, an animal theme, gold accents, and a unique silhouette thanks to the tapered boots and pointy hat. I don't care that the plaid pattern in the skirt is weird. I absolutely love this. 2. Happiness Fortune. They did something to the colors with Happiness Fortune. It's a primary color scheme with white base colors and a warm tint. It's also a cropped yukata silhouette with adorable hair accessories. There is a ton of detail in these pieces, yet the visual impact isn't overwhelming. Masterful work here. 1. Sparkle Queen. Aha! Am I back to being predictable again? If so, that's fine. Look at the cape. Fluffy rainbow sparkle brilliance. Pink, white, and blue. Lots of gold. Balanced asymmetry in each piece, a regal concept, mixed textures. Do I need to go on? If you've watched enough of these videos, I hope you can immediately see that this dress could only ever be first place to me. Let me know your favorite coords in the comments below, and look out for my spicy Agaha deep dive in a couple of weeks. Bye bye!
It's a show time.